Hi guys, how are you all? I hope you all are doing well. And guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you have seen the earlier parts of chapter 6, that is citizenship. And now we are going to continue the chapter from where we left. Okay, so this is the next part. Now in this part we are going to see loss of citizenship. Okay, what does that mean? That means how a person can lose its citizenship. Okay, so I have written all the points in short over here. I'm going to explain this to you, and I have made sure that to cover all the points. Okay, no point is left, so you can sum it up the entire topic into these many points. Okay, now the first point, the Citizenship Act of 1955 prescribes, see I have not written some words because we are trying to make short notes also. Okay, but I am reading out for you from the book and then I am going to explain it. Okay, so the Citizenship Act of 1955 prescribes three ways. Okay, the Citizenship Act of 1955 prescribes three ways. These are the three ways in which citizenship can be lost. Okay, these are the three ways I have written in short form. So the first is by renunciation R, second is by termination T, and third is by deprivation D. Okay, now next what are they saying? That there are three ways of losing citizenship, whether acquired under Act or prior to it under the Constitution. Now this citizenship can be acquired under the Act, that is Citizenship Act 1955, or prior to this act under Constitution. Citizenship can be acquired in any of these two ways, but citizenship can be lost in these three ways, that is by renunciation, termination and deprivation. Okay, the first point is by renunciation. How citizenship can be lost by renunciation? The first point is, any citizen of full age or capacity, any citizen who is of full age and capacity can declare upon registration. Okay, now what they are trying to say is, any person who is of full age and capacity can renounce its citizenship. Can renounce means in a way to give away its citizenship. How can that person give away? Upon registration of declaration. That person has to register. Okay, REG is register the declaration that I want to give up the Indian citizenship. Okay, ये जो पर्सन है इसको रजिस्टर करवाना पड़ेगा. और किस चीज़ का रजिस्ट्रेशन कराना पड़ेगा? एक डिक्लेरेशन मे बी फॉर एग्जाम्पल अ फॉर्म की आई वॉन्ट टू गिव अवे माई citizenship. In that case, a person can renounce its citizenship. Now, the next thing is, a person ceases to be citizen during war. Now, what they are saying in the next point is, upon registration of that declaration, that person ceases to be a citizen of India. Now, after registering this declaration, okay, now after registering this declaration, the person ceases to be the citizen of India. Ceases means stops. Once you are registering this declaration, you will be stopped to be the citizen of India. Okay. However, if such declaration is made during war in which India is engaged, its registration shall be withheld by the central government. Now, if you are making such a registration when India is at war, okay, India is at war with some other country, at that point of time you are making declaration, your declaration will be withheld for some time. Okay, that means they will keep it on hold. Now next point is every minor child of this person, okay, loses citizenship. See, I'm not writing the full sentences because we have to make short notes. So try to understand. I'm explaining you the points. You can note down the points, and then for revision you can keep these notes. Okay. Every minor child loses the citizenship. Which minor child? The minor child of this person. I have given an arrow here. When this person is losing the citizenship, every minor child of this person loses the citizenship. But the condition is the child was minor when he is losing the citizenship, but after 18 years that child can resume its citizenship. Okay, now I'll explain you one more time. Okay, जो सिटीजन है फुल एज एंड कैपेसिटी का, उस सिटीजन को रजिस्ट्रेशन करना पड़ेगा. उस रजिस्ट्रेशन में उनको डिक्लेयर करना पड़ेगा कि आई हैव टू गिव अप द सिटीजनशिप, एंड देन द पर्सन सीजेस टू बी सिटीजन. दैट मीन्स द पर्सन स्टॉप्स टू बी द सिटीजन. नाउ व्हेन दिस पर्सन stops to be a citizen, every minor child of that person loses his citizenship. उनका जो minor बच्चा है, that the child that has not been 18 years old, that child loses its citizenship also. But 18 years के बाद में वो बच्चा अपना citizenship resume कर सकता है. And the second point is, during war the application or the registration will be withheld. Okay, very easy. I hope you understood. Now second point is by termination. How can one lose citizenship by termination? Now when Indian citizen acquires citizenship of any other country, okay, very easy. When you are an Indian citizen and you are acquiring citizenship of any other country, then your Indian citizenship gets terminated. आप Indian citizen हो और आपने किसी और country की citizenship ले ली है, तो आपकी Indian citizenship terminate हो जाएगी. terminate हो जाना मतलब ख़त्म हो जाना. okay, now but इसमें conditions है. what are the conditions? जो आपने citizenship ली है दूसरे country की, you should have taken it consciously, knowingly, without influence or compulsion. जो आपने citizenship ली है किसी और country की, वो आपने consciously लेनी चाहिए, knowingly लेनी चाहिए. मतलब किसी के धोखे में आके नहीं लेनी चाहिए, या किसी के influence में आके नहीं लेनी चाहिए, या किसी के compulsion में आके नहीं लेनी चाहिए. There should be your free will. फ्री विल मतलब ये आपने अपनी मर्जी से लेना चाहिए. ओके, एंड दिस लॉस ऑफ सिटीजनशिप बाय टर्मिनेशन इज नॉट एप्लीकेबल ड्यूरिंग वॉर. ओके, दैट मीन्स व्हेन इंडिया इज एट वॉर विद सम कंट्री, देन you cannot then the loss of citizenship by termination is not applicable. ओके, अगर इंडिया का किसी कंट्री से वॉर चल रहा है, उस टाइम पर आप अपनी सिटीजनशिप किसी और कंट्री की सिटीजनशिप लेके इंडिया की सिटीजनशिप टर्मिनेट नहीं कर सकते. ओके, सो to explain you I have written these many sentences, but to make it short, what you can do is, when Indian citizen acquires citizenship of any other country, don't write this much. Just write acquire citizenship of any other country. Okay, then consciously, knowingly, without influence or compulsion, and not applicable during war. So this has become more shorter. Okay, now next, how can citizenship be lost by deprivation? Okay, so I hope you can see. Let me just check if you can see it clearly. Okay. Okay. Now loss of citizenship by deprivation. So the first point is, how can one lose citizenship by deprivation? So, compulsory termination by central government. Now, citizenship by deprivation means you are deprived. Deprivation means you are deprived, means the government has taken away. Here in citizenship by termination, you are yourself on your free will giving up the citizenship of India. But by deprivation, what is happening is the central government is terminating your citizenship. The central government is doing this, and here you were doing yourself. Okay, that is the difference. So why the central government can cancel your citizenship? The first point is if your citizenship is obtained by fraud. If you have done some malpractices in obtaining the citizenship, then the central government can cancel your citizenship. Now I have written obtained by fraud, you can just write fraud to save the space, to make it shorter. Okay. Second, disloyalty to constitution. If you are a citizen and if you have shown disloyalty to the constitution, then the central government can take away your citizenship. Okay. Unlawful trade or communication with enemy during war. If you have done unlawful trade means business, or communication, that means maybe you have told them some secrets or something else, with enemy, that is enemy country during war, then your citizenship can be taken away. Okay, 3 points done. 4th point is citizen within 5 years after registration or naturalization being imprisoned in any other country for 2 years. If you are a citizen of India, but if you have acquired citizenship by registration or naturalization. Okay, we have seen earlier that you can acquire citizenship by registration or naturalization. After acquiring the Indian citizenship within 5 years, if you are imprisoned in some other country for 2 years, then your citizenship can be cancelled. Okay, I'll explain it to you again. अगर आपने इंडियन सिटीजनशिप ली है, कौन से 2 तरीके से? अगर आप इंडियन सिटीजन नहीं थे पहले और आपने सिटीजनशिप ली है इंडिया की, आइदर बाय रजिस्ट्रेशन और बाय नेचुरलाइजेशन. ओके, ठीक है. अब आपने ये 2 तरीकों से, आइदर इससे या इससे, आपने इंडियन सिटीजनशिप ले ली है. नाउ यू आर सिटीजन ऑफ इंडिया, बट विदिन 5 years. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर आपने 2015 में सिटीजनशिप ली थी, ठीक है, बट विदिन 5 years, मतलब सपोज 2018 में आपकी सिटीजनशिप को 5 years होने के हैं अभी, तो विदिन 3 years अगर आप किसी और कंट्री में जाते हो, वहाँ पे आप कोई क्राइम करते हो और उस कंट्री में अगर आपको 2 years के लिए जेल हो जाती है, तो इन दैट केस आपकी इंडियन सिटीजनशिप टर्मिनेट हो जाएगी. ओके, सो citizen within 5 years, Indian citizen within 5 years after registration or naturalization be imprisoned in any country for 2 years. Okay, to write it short, just आप क्या कर सकते हो, ठीक है, citizenship acquired by registration or naturalization. सिटीजनशिप एक्वायर की थी रजिस्ट्रेशन और नेचुरलाइजेशन से, बट क्या हुआ, इम्प्रिजन्ड within 5 years in other country. Bus. After seeing this point, you will remember what is the concept. Okay. The next point is citizenship ordinarily resident out of India for 7 years continuously. Okay. Now you are a Indian citizen, but 7 years straight, if you are living out of India and in between if you have not visited India, then you can lose your citizenship. Okay, citizen ordinarily Indian citizen जो ordinarily out of India रह रहे हैं for 7 years continuously, okay, then you can lose your citizenship. So इस point को भी हम short में कर सकते हैं. For your understanding, living outside India for 7 years continuously. Okay, in this way you can remember the point. Okay, so we are done with loss of citizenship, and our next point is single citizenship. I'll make you revise once again. So how can we lose citizenship? By renunciation. In renunciation, the person himself declares and gives the declaration on registration. With that person, minor child loses the citizenship, but minor child can resume. In termination, if you acquire citizenship of another country, automatically your Indian citizenship ceases. And the third is by deprivation. In deprivation, the central government is stopping your citizenship or holding back your citizenship. The reason for this is the first is fraud, second is disloyalty to constitution, then unlawful trade or communication with enemy. Then what was the next point? That if you are imprisoned out of India within 5 years of your citizenship by registration or naturalization. And the last point is living outside India for 7 years. Okay, so now we will see in next topic we are going to see single citizenship. Okay, so okay guys, we are moving to our next topic, that is single citizenship. Okay, now what is happening in single citizenship is they are describing about how the Indian citizenship has been. Okay, now I'll explain it to you, and I have written everything in short notes as usual. Okay, now Indian constitution has single citizenship only. Okay, and Indian constitution do not have a state citizenship. Okay, we as the citizen of India, we have a single citizenship. Okay, that is Indian citizenship, and we do not have separate state citizenship. For example, if you are living in Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Gujarat, you do not have the citizenship of your states, which is unlike USA. In USA, they have double citizenship. Okay, they give their citizens dual citizenship, that is double citizenship. For example, they give citizenship of the state in which they are living as well as the national citizenship. But here in India, if you are living in Gujarat, you do not have the citizenship of Gujarat. Okay, you are a citizen, or you are known as the citizen of India. Okay, now I'll read it out for you. Though the Indian constitution is federal and envisage a dual polity, center and state, it provides only single citizenship. In the political structure, we have dual political structure. That is, we have state government separately and central government separately. But in case of citizenship, we have only single citizenship. That is the Indian citizenship. The citizen of India owe allegiance only to Union. There is no separate state citizenship. The other federal state like USA and Switzerland, on the other hand, adopted the system of dual citizenship. Okay, USA has adopted the system of double citizenship. Now what happens in double citizenship? You enjoy dual rights given to you by your state government and by your national government. Some privileges are given to you by your state government, so you enjoy those privileges, and then some privileges are given to you by a national government, so you enjoy those privileges also. So in case of dual citizenship, you enjoy dual rights. I'll read out for you. In USA, each person is not only a citizen of USA but also a particular state to which he belongs. Thus, he owes allegiance to both and enjoy dual sets of right to one set conferred by the national government and other by the state government. This system, now what is happening is, now this person is enjoying, due to dual right, this person is enjoying dual rights, but this person is also responsible to state government and national government. Here in the book the word is given owes allegiance, that means he has his duty or he is responsible towards state government also and national government also. But in case of dual citizenship, what may happen? The state may discriminate. Okay, now if there is a state and the laws of state are different, there is another state, the laws of those state might be different. Now it is possible, it is not compulsory, but it is possible that the state government might discriminate between the citizen of his state versus the citizen of other state. So this is possible. Okay, so I'll read out for you. This system creates the problem of discrimination, that is, state may discriminate in favor of its citizens in matters like right to vote, right to hold public offices, right to practice profession, and so on. This problem is avoided in the system of single citizenship prevalent in India. Okay, this system is avoided in our case, in case of single citizenship, because we do not discriminate between the citizens of state. Okay, but this rule of absence of discrimination, now in India we are saying that because of single citizenship we are not discriminating among our citizens, but there are some exceptions to this discrimination also. Now what are those exceptions? Okay, the first is the Parliament under Article 16. See, in the book a long passage has written, I have reduced it to very short things, so I'll explain you what happens. The Parliament under Article 16, and under Article 16, under Public Employment Requirement as Residence Act 1957, prescribe residence as the qualification for employment. Now what do we know? अभी तक हमको क्या पता था कि इंडिया में if you are living in any state, the government will not discriminate against you. But there is exception to this case. What is the first exception is कि कुछ cases में under Article 16, the government for public employment मतलब for public employment मतलब government job के लिए the government can prescribe residence as qualification. Okay, मतलब जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर किसी एग्ज़ाम का फॉर्म आउट होता है पब्लिक में कि इस गवर्नमेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में वैकेंसीज है, तो अंडर रिक्वायरमेंट एज रेसिडेंस पब्लिक एम्प्लॉयमेंट एक्ट 1957, इस एक्ट के अंदर द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट हैज़ राइट टू प्रिस्क्राइब रेसिडेंस एज क्वालिफिकेशन फॉर एम्प्लॉयमेंट. मतलब वहाँ पर स्टेट गवर्नमेंट स्पेसिफाई कर सकती है कि ये पोजीशन इस स्टेट के सिटीजन के लिए इस स्टेट के पर्सन के लिए रेस्ट्रिक्टेड है. फॉर एग्जांपल नाउ सी कि व्हाट आर दोज किस स्टेट के लिए किया था वो, नॉन गेजेटेड पोस्ट फॉर आंध्र प्रदेश, हिमाचल प्रदेश, मणिपुर एंड त्रिपुरा. सो अंडर दिस एक्ट अगर कोई नॉन गेजेटेड पोस्ट है आंध्र प्रदेश में, हिमाचल प्रदेश में, मणिपुर या त्रिपुरा में, तो उस जो एडवर्टीजमेंट है उसमें आएगा कि दिस पोस्ट इज एप्लीकेबल फॉर the residents of these states. ओके इस एक्ट के अंदर ये पॉसिबल था, बट दिस एक्ट हैज एक्सपायर्ड इन 1974. ओके एंड नाउ द एक्सेप्शन इज ओनली टू आंध्र प्रदेश एंड तेलंगाना. आई विल एक्सप्लेन यू वंस अगेन. बट अब क्या हो गया? फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ आंध्र प्रदेश एंड तेलंगाना इज रिलीजिंग एनी एडवर्टीजमेंट फॉर पब्लिक एम्प्लॉयमेंट, अगर किसी गवर्नमेंट जॉब के लिए वो लोग एडवर्टीजमेंट रिलीज कर रहे हैं, तो अंडर दिस एक्ट दे कैन होल्ड दैट पोजीशन. उस एडवर्टीजमेंट में वो लिख सकते हैं कि जो पर्सन जिनका डोमिसाइल आंध्र प्रदेश और तेलंगाना के है, ओनली दोज पीपल कैन अप्लाई फॉर दिस पोजीशन. ओके, दिस इज एक्सेप्शन and this is applicable under Article 16. Okay, so this position will not be applicable for the people from all over India. Okay, now next moving on, I'll just check whether you can. Okay, moving on to the second point. Under Article 15, the state can give special benefits or preference to its residents. Now, what is the second point? Now, what is the second exception? The first exception is public employment के लिए कुछ जो state है वो अपनी position hold करके रखेंगे. What are those states now? Earlier they were Andhra Pradesh, Himachal, Manipur and Tripura. Now it is Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. Now second is under Article 15, state can give special benefit or preference to its residents. ठीक है? Now citizenship single ही है. We are not discriminating between the people of different state, but what they are saying here is कि जो रेसिडेंट जो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट है वो अपने रेसिडेंट्स को कुछ बेनिफिट्स दे सकती है, और उन बेनिफिट्स को यू विल नॉट कंसिडर एज डिस्क्रिमिनेशन. ओके, नाउ दिस फ्रीडम हैज बीन गिवन अंडर आर्टिकल 15. नाउ द थर्ड पॉइंट इज freedom of movement and residence under Article 19 is subject to interest of any scheduled tribe, and outsider will not be entered in tribal area. Now what they are saying is, this is also a long paragraph. I have cut it short and I'll explain it to you. Now what is happening under point 3 is the freedom of movement and residence under Article 19 is subjected to protection of interest of any scheduled tribe. In other words, okay, now freedom of movement under Article 19, there is, the constitution has given us freedom of movement and residence. You don't have to take government's permission if you want to shift from Delhi to Bombay or Bombay to Pune. You don't have to take permission of government, because we have freedom of movement and residence, because you can move anywhere in the country and you can reside anywhere in the country. Okay, but in this case this is subjected to interest of any scheduled tribe. Okay, but this is subjected to interest of any scheduled tribe. That means you can, this movement of freedom of movement and residence is not applicable in the tribal areas. Okay, and no outsider can enter the tribal area. This is done to protect their culture. This has been done to protect their culture, language, custom and the manner of scheduled tribe, and to safeguard their traditional value. Because, and if this, they have not made this rule, then anyone from outside will get into the tribal areas and it might dilute their culture, and we don't want to do that. We want to preserve the culture. That is why the freedom of movement of residence is not applicable to the scheduled tribe area. Okay, I hope you have understood this. Now fourth point is, till 2019 Jammu and Kashmir was empowered. Now the last point. Okay, till 2019 what happened was that Jammu and Kashmir was empowered to define its permanent residence and give special rights and privileges to its residents. So under 2009 till 2019 Jammu and Kashmir was given special status, and because of this, that under that special status, it was the government had given it in Jammu and Kashmir power to define its permanent residence. That means they could define that that whom they would call its permanent resident and whom they would not call its permanent resident. And then the government has also given them special rights and privileges. To whom? To the permanent residents. Now what were these special rights and privileges? So the special rights and privileges were given in the case of employment under the state government. If you want to work under the Jammu and Kashmir state government, you had to be the resident of Jammu and Kashmir. So this was the privilege given to them. The second, acquisition of immovable property. In case of acquiring the immovable property, the permanent residents were given the privilege. Okay. The third, settlement in the state. Okay. So no outsider could settle in the Jammu and Kashmir. So this was their privilege, or this was their right. Then fourth was right to scholarship, and fourth was right to scholarship. So all this right, employment, acquisition of property, settlement in the state, and scholarship, all these rights were based on Article 35, and this Article 35 was inserted by application to Jammu and Kashmir order. Okay, there was an order named Application to Jammu and Kashmir Order 1954. This Article 35 inserted this order, and this order inserted Article 370, which gave special status to Jammu and Kashmir. And under this Article 370, the residents of Jammu and Kashmir had these many rights. But in 2019, the special status was abolished by the new presidential order known as the Constitution Application to Jammu and Kashmir Order 2019. This order superseded the earlier 1954 order. Okay, and then all these rights were taken off. Okay, so here we have completed our topic, single citizenship, and now we will be moving on to our next topic. I hope you have understood all these points, so you can just pause the videos and note down all the points, and when I'll take the revision sessions, in those I will make the further short notes of all this.